We have Gary Testa from Engineered Fluids. He is the president and the CEO. So Gary, if you want to make your way up.
All right, so who's doing immersion cooling today? How many of you guys have got miners? Yeah, raise your hand. Because those are the people in the audience right now that are actually running the most profitable miners on the planet. So most important, right now, if you're doing immersion cooling, particularly with BitCool, we're able to get your hash rate up 50% over the standard hash. And it's all about a very simple concept of thermal management, okay? The biggest thing that destroys miners, the thing that gates all of your performance is thermal management. And air, which apparently is free and surrounds us, also happens to be the least thermally efficient way to cool anything, okay? Mother Nature figured this out a long time ago, okay? You're liquid cooled, you're filled with liquid, right? However, we've been using air simply because it's free. Now, 100 years ago, a German gentleman actually put a whole bunch of electronics in mineral oil and discovered that he could increase the thermal efficiency of those devices by something on the order of 50%. So in 1967, Cray Computer introduced the first high-performance compute together with IBM, and that was liquid-cooled. So today, we have over 175 megawatts of immersion-cooled miners throughout the world. We have 80 countries doing this. We have miners all over the world. But the reason that they do it isn't just that it's the greenest, that it's the least expensive. It's primarily because they're achieving the ultimate hash rate with their miners, with the ultimate in reliability. And so what I would invite you to do is come over and see us at booth 47 and see exactly what we can do to help you deliver the ultimate hash rate for your miners. If you're going to spend the money to buy the miners, there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting the best absolute performance with the highest reliability with the least amount of maintenance. So all of the industrial scale miners throughout the world right now are moving to immersion. Why? Because think about it. If you can get an extra 50% hash rate, you do two things. One is that if you have a limited amount of miners, you're going to dramatically increase the amount of hash you have within that, meaning you don't need to spend the capital to buy more. Or if you have unlimited power, you have the ability, even today with miners being in short supply, to actually utilize all that power. So ultimately, while we all care about being green, oh, look at that. All right. Hey. We're going to have a presentation. All right, guys. See, you guys are good. Oh, yeah, I've got a few. We're going to reset the timer. Oh, you are? No, that's okay. Here, we've done all this. We're going to start right here. All right, so as we talked about, we're going to deliver the ultimate hash rate. Climate independence. This is probably one of the most important things that you've got to think about going forward, because what we're finding out is that cheap power occurs oftentimes in some of the hottest locations on the planet. Texas, great example. We're seeing this down in Latin America as well. We're seeing this over in Asia. Not on top of that, better reliability. You don't have to reset your miners as often, if at all. Everybody remember the S17s where they were failing at 60 or 70% out of that batch? We had 0% failure in BitCool for those. Okay, so immersion makes a big difference in this. Significantly less maintenance. How would you like to never have to clean the dust off another miner again? How about not having your miners fail because they're clogged with dust and air particles, right? This is a big deal, all right? Particularly if you're at remote sites, particularly when you're in locations where you can't get staff or it's hard to find skilled staff. Reduce power consumption. Just by removing the fans off your miners, you get an extra 10%. Right to the bottom line. Basically takes 30 seconds to clip the wires and you're done. And finally, for those of you who are incredibly environmentally conscious, as we are, the complete elimination of water for the use of cooling. Right? Now, if you're going to go into some new jurisdictions, you're going to find out, particularly in these hottest locations like what we're seeing in the Middle East, they're not going to allow you to use water for evaporative cooling. So you're going to have to come up with a solution in order to deploy, hundreds of megawatts of power in miners. You're going to have to come up with a solution that does not require the use of water. But let's look at what we really care about. All right, so if you look at your average miner and you take the stock hash rate at the stock power supply, you typically are able to deliver, about 110%. But what's the gating factor if you're going to overclock the miner? It actually is the stock PSU. Now, if you unleash that, okay, if you go and you get a larger power supply, look at the types of hash rate improvement in performance that you're going to get. This is huge. Now, what do customers do? A lot of our customers will take the standard power supply, immerse it, and then burn through it. Basically run that miner as hard as they can until that power supply fails. And then they upgrade the power supply, and then they're delivered reliable. This is not a hashboard problem. This is purely a PSU challenge. And replacing the PSU is typically less than $100. But look at the hash rate. When you start to run these numbers, what you find out is that you pay for that new power supply in like 6 days. So, at the end of the day, immersion is both one of the most efficient methods of running your miners. It has the lowest cost, absolute lowest cost in maintenance. But the other thing that you get, which is critically important, is you get future proofing. We don't know what the next version of miners are going to look like. We don't know how fast they're going to run. So the question is, are you able to build a facility that is future-proof? With immersion, we're already outperforming today's miners on a factor of about 4 to 5x. What does that mean? That means that I can design a system for you today that will have 5 times the cooling capacity of anything that you can deliver today, which means that as miners get faster, as densities get better, you are not having to go back and reinvest in your cooling infrastructure to maintain these. And the other part, we are seeing a huge number of S9s come back into the market. And the reason for that is because they can be run profitably. What this means is that the longevity of your investment in your mining equipment gets extended. You're actually going to get more useful life and more profitability because you're increasing the hash rate. You're getting a far better return on that capital investment. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. The thing that we care about most in this room is hash rate. And how do we deliver it at the most efficient method possible? And how do we do that in the most reliable fashion? And the answer to that is very simple. It's single-phase liquid immersion cooling. And I would invite you all to come visit with us. Now, in addition to doing just the fluids, which I think we're very well known for, we do turnkey systems, we do engineering. Unlike a lot of the vendors that'll come to you about immersion cooling, our primary intellectual property is in the development of the fluids. So we're happy to design tanks for you. We're happy to design turnkey systems. We're happy to do the fluid and hydraulic engineering. We've done complete buildings from scratch. But the most important piece is that as you grow with your own experience, you'll see that you can begin to take on a number of these things. In other words, we help you reduce your long-term cost. We're interested in delivering you systems that have longevity and performance, not just in selling you a bunch of boxes and pipes. So for those of you who don't know us, I'd invite you to come to our booth. I'd invite you to come to the web. One of the things that we pride ourselves in engineered fluids is education. You can go on our website today, as you have been able to for the past 3 years, and download an 85-page presentation that talks about everything immersion. So thank you so much. It's great seeing you all out here again. It's good having you, and thank you.